Welcome, Wrestlebuddies, to another episode of Meet the Wrestlebuddies. Today, we got on another one of our newest members, a lot like Tyler. Today, we get to introduce you guys to Josh. How are we doing today, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. My leg's in a little bit of pain, but I'm doing pretty good.
Hey, you said you pulled your groin. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, I have no idea how or why, but powering through today, bro.
Well, dude, it's funny because, I'm a big football guy, and everybody's like, oh, he blew his ACL. That's so terrible. It's like, dude, a blown ACL, the pain goes away. You just have to wait for the recovery. Like a pulled groin, that shit just hurts all the time.
Just lingering right
It's
now.
just constant pain, right? Like, that's horrible.
But today we get to introduce you to our audience. You write articles for us. I believe this is your first time on screen with us, correct?
It is. I have not been on screen with you guys. I was paranoid about – I'm paying attention. I'm just sharing to all my groups. But, I was paranoid because my camera I thought was shitty, and I don't have, the normal RSH setup here. So, I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm spoiled by, the tapestry behind me of RSH and the camera and two other people, so I don't have to talk by myself. But we're good. We'll see what happens.
Speaking of RSH, that's what you do aside of Team Wrestlebuddy. So explain that a little bit.
All right, so RSH, so me, my buddy, one of my best friends, he's family. He literally is family. I've known him for his real name's Ben. He'll get pissed at me for saying that, but he goes by Chuck Winchester. How he got that name is he used to work for the government. He had a government job, and he didn't want them to know who he was on Facebook, so he came up with that name. It's like a Breaking Bad. And there's another show that he used to love, and he combined the names of his two favorite characters into Chuck Winchester. So that's how that came. But I was telling you before we went live, we went to see Spider-Man: Homecoming, and we came back. We had a few adult beverages. We was like, let's fucking just try this podcast thing. We talked about it for a while, so we was like, let's do it. So we just vented for an hour. We was like, let's just start doing this. And the name Regularly Scheduled Hostilities is actually an idea from. Dude, drip. CM Punk, no, stop. I'll deal with you Wednesday. This is my time, not yours. How much did you spend? Dude, CM Punk doesn't have bed sheets made. You have to be like a star to have your own bed sheets. Yeah, Supernatural. That's what it was. Supernatural and Breaking Bad, he combined all that shit. And that's how he got his name. And then I used to be in this Facebook group I got kicked out of because I'm too aggressive with my wrestling takes. According to the guy that's in charge of the group, but he is like, you guys are so hostile. So Regularly Scheduled Hostilities, because it's scheduled every Wednesday. They're regularly, and we always argue. Right now, me and Ben are arguing about Billie Eilish because he claims he don't know who the fuck she is, but who doesn't? I mean, my top 10 article is on Geek Buddy, and it's amazing. Who doesn't know who Billie Eilish is? But whatever. But yeah, so this week's our 150th episode. So it's in our 100th live episode, which is kind of crazy. And Bebe will be on, so it should be fun. But it's just three people that love wrestling, and we love arguing about it. And that's pretty much what it is. And we've been at it for almost 4 years now.
And it's good that you're able to argue and, able to get that out and still have a good relationship with these people.
Dude, I've never been in a fight with Ben about anything, ever. We've never had a disagreement. I met him at Kmart. You people, that used to be a store before Walmart took over, for the people that don't know what Kmart is. But I was putting out action. I used to love putting the toys out because I like look at the WWE ones, seeing what new ones we got in. And I was like, John Cena had a new action figure, and I was like, fuck yeah. And I'm looking at it, and he was security at Kmart, and he was like, John Cena's sucks, and so does anybody that likes him. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And that's how I met him. And he came by, I was covering electronics' lunch. I was at the register covering electronics. He walked by. He's like, I was fucking with you, bro. You like wrestling? And I was like, yeah. And we started talking about it. And 10 years later, he's family. Like I said, I've known him forever. And that's how we met, him talking shit about the greatest of all time, John Cena. But I let it slide.
All right, so we've explained regularly scheduled hostilities. We've explained how you guys got together. Now let's explain how you got into the wrestling business. What is your first memories of wrestling?
My dad sent me down this is good shit. And I'm not even quoting Vince. That's exactly what he said. He's like, it was Monday Night Wars happened soon after I got into it. But Stone Cold was my first memory. Like coming out, drinking beer, beating the shit out of his boss. Like, who didn't love Stone Cold? And then you learn about the other characters. Like the roster back then was stacked. So you have like The Rock coming up, The Undertaker, Kane, big shit. Like the mid card had like superstars and like Chris Jericho's like the guy in AEW. He was mid card back then. Like he wasn't even. He came later, but like he wasn't a big name. There was so many good wrestlers back then. So I got Stone Cold. My first memory, it was him stunning Vince and like pouring beer on his head. I think it's the first night I watched the Raw. That's what happened. And I was like addicted from then. I just started like if I get into something, I just research it, Google. And I learned everything about it. It's kind of 99. So 25 years later, here I am still. I just finished SmackDown before we went live. Like I went out last night, so I was like not watching SmackDown, but first thing I do when I wake up, SmackDown. So I've been addicted to wrestling for 25 years.
Hey, dude, it's a good addiction to have.
Who was my GOAT before John Cena? Stone Cold. Oh, God. Oh, that's Justin Del Rio. He runs Nerds of Wrestling. What's up,
Hello,
Del Rio?
Justin.
I don't know. Why do you have
Hello.
why do you have a burner Facebook account, Justin? That's shady. But you're not Kevin Durant. But anyway. Yeah, pretty much. You just dive into it. The worst angle of all time. Retribution.
Oh, that's a good one.
And that's Reset, but that was rough.
I was about to say, that's one that not a lot of people choose.
1A, Maximum Male Models. Poor Mace, dude. He can't get put in a good gimmick to save his life. Like, he was in Retribution. Now he's in that shit.
All right. So, growing up, you said Stone Cold is your favorite. What would be your favorite Stone Cold match?
Oh, man. Oh, the one he just did with KO.
Okay, another recent one.
The one he just did with KO. You can't do – like, Kevin Owens is the closest thing to Stone Cold we got right now. Stone Cold signed off on him taking his finishing move, which is a big – like, that's a big thing. Like, Stone Cold using the stunner. So, like, dude – and everybody was like, it wasn't supposed to be a match. Any wrestling fan with a brain knew they were going to have a match, right? Like, that wasn't just going to be a KO show. And the fact that he went – Stone Cold looked good, too. And he left that match. He said in an interview after he'll do another one. So I'm curious who else they could put with him. Because Stone Cold could be –
Stone Cold took a suplex onto the concrete.
Yeah. Dude, Stone Cold looks good. And he could be that Mania guy. Like, he's so over and beloved by wrestling fans. If he became kind of that guy that just does Manias, I'm 100% for it. Always. Can you imagine the matches that he could have with people? Like, not just KO. Insert name here. Like,
Sami Zayn would be great.
Dude, he came to mind. He's been the best thing on TV for the last month. Like, that segment Friday, we talked with RSH last week. That's the best segment of wrestling I've seen in about 2 years. Like, I thought he was getting thrown out of the bloodline. And then, like, Sami Zayn's just an artist, dude. Like, the way he looks, the way he sells, it's perfect. He'd be great. Top 5 current 30 years and younger. Oh, that's rough. There's a lot. One thing I've learned since Triple H took over, since they put more than 3 people on TV now, is they have a lot of talent. I'll give you my top 3. I done got 5. Theory is 1. Theory and Madcap Moss are going to be cornerstones of Raw and SmackDown for the next 15 years. Like, they have their 2 guys. Madcap Moss needs to get a gimmick, though, because he looks like the default wrestler that you create on 2K, because he has just black tights and generic music. So, like, they need to, like, give him a character, but you look at the guy, he's going to be a star. And under 30, man, this Gargano's over 30.
Yeah, there's a lot of older
dude,
people.
there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of talent. WWE doesn't have, like, all right, I'll go with Solo Sikoa. He's under 30. There's no way he's over 30.
David just brought up Madcap is 33.
Oh, my God. That's crazy. All right, I'll give you 2. Solo and Theory. I can't think of anyone under 30 now. That blew my mind. Madcap's 33 years old.
So David also brought up not just WWE you brought up that your takes on AEW are very, as you said, hostile.
They
But
are.
is there any other promotion other than WWE that you do watch?
I DVR AEW and I watch MJF's parts, and I turn it off. And if something happens, like you see on Twitter, Twitter's a great place because I don't have to watch wrestling. I just go on Twitter and see what's going on. If I miss something, if you go on Twitter, you figure out what happened really quick. So I watch AEW, I DVR it, I skip through it. Like I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not a fan of it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Do you watch any New Japan or any of the independent circuits or no?
I watch. So we have this guy, Jason Dugan. He works for ARW. He's got 4 fucking titles with him or something. Like he comes on the show all the time. So I've been dabbing into that a little bit just because he's a good friend of the show. He's a good dude. And I hope one day he gets to WWE, even though he claims he doesn't want to go there, but like who doesn't want to go there? But no, I don't watch really any indies between WWE. I mean, I got 3 shows a week. So I've never watched New Japan. I'm aware of it because I read dirt sheets, right? So like I'm aware of the names. Like I knew who Will Ospreay was when he came to AEW. I knew who what's the guy's name that actually invented the go to sleep. I knew who he was.
Kenta.
Yeah, when he came over, I knew. Like I'm aware of who they are. I just don't watch it. Like I can't watch wrestling all the time. And in order to keep up with everything, you'd have to, because WWE's got 8 hours of content a week, right? So like that's a lot. And if they have a pay-per-view, there's 4 more hours. So it's like, so mostly just WWE at this point, but I'm aware of what's going on everywhere else.
And here's Zane with a question that I think everybody was waiting for.
Eddie Kingston. I think he's very generic. I think he's like, his character to me, I don't know if it's his character or just how he is, but like, he says what he's one of those people that's like, I'll say what I want. I'm a badass. Don't fuck with me. But like, you're not. And like in AEW, he's never going to get, when he fought, was it Moxley for the title? The one time, that's as high as he'll probably ever go. If I'm equating him to somebody in WWE, he's like, man, I don't know. He's fine for what he does, but I'm not a fan. I don't like Moxley either. Like, I just don't get it.
I think that's supposed to be great human being.
Yeah. Yeah. He seems like a good dude, but like, I don't know them personally. I just judge them by what I see on my TV screen. But I just don't see Eddie Kingston as like a guy that's ever going to be a world champion. TNT champion, I'm sure that'd be a great story. Like, hey, Eddie Kingston finally won gold, but I couldn't care less if he's on TV or not. That's just honest.
Now, what would you say drew you into pro wrestling? You brought up Stone Cold earlier in the segments with Vince McMahon.
Stories, the storytelling. That's what kind of got lost over the last few years. Vince would just throw shit together. Like we were talking last week. Finn Balor, we were talking about Extreme Rules last year. The Demon lost to Roman and the rope broke, and they never ever acknowledged it again. Like,
no, they didn't.
Where's the story? Like back in the day, there was storylines, and the story like the Undertaker kidnapped Stephanie. I'm like, oh my god, Dad! Like, when do we find out where Stephanie is? Next Monday, son. It's like shit. Like I was when Nexus attacked CM Punk and John Cena. I was like, holy shit, was that real? Oh my god! Like stories. The storytelling in every segment mattered. Now you have segments where it's like, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom, or I'm going to run to the McDonald's, or I'm going to go do this because I don't care about this next half hour. You don't have that anymore. I just watched all of SmackDown without skipping anything but the commercials. Like every segment needs to matter. And back in the day, it did. And there was star power all down the roster. So it was easy. Like with Chris Benoit, I know we're not supposed to say that name, but like when he's the opening match and he's the lowest on the card, you know you got a damn good roster.
You know you got a damn good
like Chris Benoit. It's Chris Benoit versus Rey Mysterio is like the opening match on a Raw. It's like it's going to be a good show.
Now, what would you say would be your favorite period in wrestling? How many periods have you actually watched?
The Attitude Era. I mean, that's the generic answer, though, right? But like, it was the best era. Vince and Stone Cold was the best. It's the best rivalry in the history of wrestling, in my opinion. It saved wrestling, in my opinion, because without Stone Cold, they probably don't win the Monday Night War. Let's be real. Like, Bischoff was hot. I love Eric Bischoff. I defend him all the time. He has a lot of hot takes, but like all his AEW takes, I agree with like a million %. But it's Attitude Era, dude. Stone Cold and Vince was and is the rivalry of all. I think everybody that's into wrestling at least respects that rivalry because of what it did for wrestling. Because without it, we're probably not sitting here talking about wrestling right now. And I honestly believe that. Without Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, there probably wouldn't be wrestling. There'd be some kind of wrestling, right? Impact would probably still exist, but like nobody cares. Yeah, like nobody's like, oh my God, Bobby Fish on Impact. Let's do like nobody cares. Like it doesn't matter. Like, but it's that rivalry right there. So it's the Attitude Era for sure. And like think of all the matches that happened outside of those two, like The Undertaker versus Kane, Undertaker and Mankind. Like it was easily the best era. But we're approaching, I don't know what we're calling this Triple H era. We do need to come up with a name for it though, because
definitely
this is looking like a very promising era right now. So we do need to come up with a name.
A good uprise.
As a wrestling community, I think we need to name Triple H's era something. I don't know what.
I agree there.
But I think the people on Twitter can probably do that because there's millions of people on Twitter, so one of them is going to have a good idea.
I guarantee it'll happen within the next couple of weeks as well. So we said storylines is what drew you in. Does that mean that like a good one-on-one match is your favorite style of match, or is there a different type of wrestling that you enjoy?
I don't have a specific type of match that I enjoy. I enjoy all of them. Like you look at Extreme Rules, that's why I'm so like pumped for. Like last year, I didn't give a shit about it. Like there was one Extreme Rules match with one table spot. Like, oh my God, how extreme was that? Now every match has a stipulation, so the variety is why I'm so excited for it. So I don't really have a type of match. If I had to pick one, though, it's Money in the Bank. I like it before it was a pay-per-view, and they did it at Mania. I wish they would just do it at Mania because I feel like it means something. Imagine, like, Theory winning the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania this year, then cashing in on The Rock after he beats Roman or something like that. Like, or Cody Rhodes wins like, if they get one belt off Roman, right? But Theory wins Money in the Bank. Then Cody, the American Dream. Theory comes down, kicks him in the face, 1, 2, 3. It's like, oh, my God, Theory's the biggest heel in wrestling now because he just killed the American Dream. Then you feel bad for Cody. Like, I feel like that match should be just at Mania, but that'd probably be my favorite type of match. Money in the Bank, because of this. The briefcase is like the most appealing thing about it because whoever gets it outside of Corbin and Damian Sandow, you're going to be a star afterwards.
Mm-hmm. You said that you would much rather have it on the WrestleMania card. What would you replace the Money in the Bank pay-per-view with?
Dude, anything. Bad Blood.
Weren't we supposed to get that a couple of years ago?
Yeah. Bring back the one that they just did at NXT where the fans vote.
Okay.
Like something
like a Cyber Sunday.
Make it real. Like with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all the social media we have now. You couldn't make that work. And you can't tell them like, hey, if this person wins, the match is going this way. If this person wins, the match is going this way. If this person wins, the match is going this way. Then do it legit. Just plan everything out. And Triple H is smart. You can see little things he does on TV. He explains everything. Like the little things last night. Why was it Damage Control with Bayley? They're stuck in Florida. We know what's going on in Florida right now, right? Like Vince would pretend the outside world, nothing was going on. Triple H acknowledges and treats us as wrestling fans not like we're stupid. Vince thought we were dumb. Like when COVID hit and the arena's empty, they never explained why.
No.
Like Roman Reigns got pulled from WrestleMania and we never got an explanation why as he's the champ. You know what I mean? Like, why not? He treated us like we were dumb. Like we didn't know COVID was going on. But yeah, little things like that.
What would you say is the best storyline going on today?
It's Sami Zayn in the Bloodline. It's Sami Zayn in the Bloodline. It's not even close. It really isn't close. If you think about it, there's really what is the biggest storyline in AEW right now?
Outside of what's happening with the Elite, I would have to say the Jericho Appreciation Society.
That's what's wrong with AEW. Right there. That's my issue. Because you had to think, like, man, what is going on? Because I follow it. And I watched Dynamite this week. I skipped through it. And I'm like, the biggest storyline is a title for a company that doesn't exist. Like, am I the only one that doesn't think that's weird? You know what I mean? Like, I get Ring of Honor. I know I know who's went through it. Somebody called me a disrespectful prick the other day on RSH. Like, you fucking buried Ring of Honor. I appreciate what it did for wrestling, but like, it doesn't exist now though. Like, I know he bought it, but there's no show. Why is the Ring of Honor title in the main event of AEW, but their world title is not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about the gold belt. And it should be treated as such. That's why when people try to talk shit about the Bloodline story, but when Roman's on, you see him multiple times or you see him at the very end. And that's how it should be. And when Roman shows up, it's a big deal. That's how a champion should be.
It's announced that he's coming on Monday.
Yeah, and he'll be there on Friday too. They said him and Logan Paul will be face-to-face in the ring for the first time since that press conference. So, like, yeah, it's the season premiere of Raw and SmackDown next week, I think. So the Bloodline is going to be on both shows, and it's a big deal. And the ratings show that. SmackDown got the biggest rating it's gotten since September of 2018 last week, 2.5 million, just because the White Rabbit thing, where it said 923, which at 923 it was at a fucking commercial break, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing about wrestling. Like, the White Rabbit thing's got me thinking, is it Bray Wyatt? That's the kind of stuff that got me into wrestling when I was younger. What does that mean? I think we all think it's Bray Wyatt, right? But like, what if it isn't? Like, Aleister Black's music, like Aleister Black's music was, you know, a couple lines from his song was mentioned in the last one. So, like, is Aleister coming back? Because we know he's not in AEW no more, but he, you know, needs time away for mental health, which prayers to the guy. But
yeah,
what if it's Aleister? What if it's somebody completely different than Bray and they got us? If it's not Bray, I feel bad for whoever it is because the fans are going to fucking be disappointed.
They're going to reject it heavily.
Yeah, whoever it is, if it's not Bray, is going to get booed. And I think Triple H knows that, so I think it's Bray because Triple H is not a stupid person. But if it's not, prayers to the guy because he's going to be guy or girl. We don't know who it is. They're going to be hated, though, if it's not Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. We got Brandon asking, who is the most criminally underrated wrestler ever?
Ever. Man. John Cena. We talked about it earlier. 5 moves of doom. I get it. Everybody knows this, the 5-knuckle shuffle, the AA, the STF. But, like, go back and watch some of his actual wrestling, like some of these matches that Cena's been in every match that's ever been made, right? Like Iron Man, ladder, tables. He's been in matches that were like a one-off that like Vince like, this sounds like a great idea. Cena, do it. And it was terrible.
Matches.
Yeah, like he can wrestle really well, actually. Like, he's good. He can sell. He's one of the best sellers of all time. Like, I know he buried talent, but like that wasn't his call. You know what I mean? Like, Vince is like, hey, go beat this guy. It's like, okay, that's why I'm getting paid millions of dollars for it. But I always tell Jimmy, Money in the Bank, he always says CM Punk carried Cena. I ask you guys to go back and watch that match again and pay attention to Cena and tell me that, like, Cena's on par. He's definitely one of the most underrated. To me, he's the most underrated wrestler of all time for his wrestling ability. I think the John Cena character people didn't like, so that made them just talk shit about it. You know how you don't like something, so you just talk shit about it, even if it ain't true? Like, man, like an ex-girlfriend, like, man, she's so ugly. It's like, obviously she's not. She's your ex-girlfriend, but you just talk shit about it over. That's what Cena was. They hated what he was, what Vince wanted him to be, so they just hated on everything else. But he was actually a very good wrestler.
Who would you put him on your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers? And if so, who are the other 3 wrestlers on that mountain?
All right, so we've done this a couple times on RSH, and they changed both. It's Cena. He's like the first one. Like, he takes up like the wall. Like, he gets the full wall. Then it's Stone Cold, The Undertaker, and Chris Jericho.
All righty. What are your favorite matches of each of those 3 men that you put on there?
All right, Jericho, there's not a match. His debut when he interrupted The Rock, I thought that was perfectly well done. Undertaker, him and Mankind, Hell in a Cell. Cena was the Firefly Funhouse, and Stone Cold was KO at Mania last year.
Now, we talked about your love and knowledge of the Attitude Era. Did you watch much of WCW at the time or no?
We would flip channels. That's why it was so fun. It's like, oh, that's on commercial. Let's go to this one. And like, oh shit, Goldberg, who I fucking hate still to this day. And I
The
hated
one that
him
we
back then.
call Gorg.
Oh, dude, when he beat the Fiend in Saudi Arabia, I about quit watching wrestling. That's the closest I got. But yeah, me and my dad would flip channels back and forth. Like that was the appeal of wrestling. Like they're trying to outdo each other. It was great because both were very good TV. So it was a great time to watch.
What was your favorite time in WCW? Like your favorite story at that time?
I was always a big fan of the NWO. And like I said, I love Eric Bischoff. So when he was integrated with that whole thing was great. The NWO versus Eric Bischoff, they tried to make it Vince versus Stone Cold. It was kind of like that, just not at that extent, like not at that level. But the NWO was my favorite part of WCW.
All right. And if you had 5 people to take from AEW to bring over to WWE, who would you bring?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I would bring Orange Cassidy. Him and R-Truth at WrestleMania would be money. People think I'm insane, but like, imagine R-Truth standing there and Orange Cassidy just kicks him in the leg. R-Truth's like, does the splits, gets back up, and kicks him in his other leg. Like, somebody tell me those two interacting wouldn't be hilarious and like whatever. So I take Cassidy, I take Omega because of what Triple H would do with him. I would take Jericho back. I feel like I feel like he's getting stale in AEW. I really do, and it's sad because I love Chris Jericho. He's on my Mount Rushmore. Like I love Chris Jericho, but I feel like he's getting very stale and he's trying too hard. So like he needs to come back. In the Acclaimed.
Okay. Yeah, they're hot right now.
They're hot. Like them and the Usos, those are obviously the 2 hottest tag teams. Tell me that wouldn't tear it down. I'm a big Creed Brothers guy.
So is Simon and Nick on our team.
I think they're going to be the best tag team in professional wrestling 1 year from now. Like next year at this time, next year from now, they're going to be tag champions. And they'll be like, man, who's the Creed Brothers fighting at Mania? Because that's how good they are. And Julius is going to be a fucking John Cena superstar when they inevitably split. You can just see it on the guy already. It's like WWE's just got people waiting in the wings. Do they have stars? Montez Ford could be a single star. Hell, Dawkins has been really good. Like there's so much talent in wrestling right now.
Now, vice versa. If you had to send 5 WWE talent over to AEW,
I would send Logan Paul. So I don't have to see him on TV anymore. And he might actually kill AEW. So that served 2 purposes because I don't know how AEW fans are the loyal wrestling fans, right? Logan Paul is not their cup of tea at all. So him going over there might just tune everybody out. So it's like I would send them people that could benefit them because they need it. They need a Dolph Ziggler I'd send. They need somebody like that. But the problem with AEW is they get these guys and they don't use. Like, where's Miro been? Like they get all these guys and they disappear for months. So it'd be Ziggler. I'd send Mace and Mansoor there so that Maximum Male Model thing's done. So that they could do that gimmick on AEW. And I'd send Natalya away because I'm sick of her and I hate her. And Charlotte. Charlotte can go save the women's division because I hate Charlotte so much and I'm dreading her return.
Yeah, she's been off TV for quite some time.
Yeah, so am I the only wrestling fan that thinks she's just going to come back and win the title still?
I mean, depends. Is she going to win the Rumble this year?
No, like I think she's just going to come back and fight Rousey and Liv and just insert herself in that. She doesn't have to win the Rumble. She's Charlotte. She just gets title shots. It's like Oprah. You get a title shot. You get a title shot. That's Charlotte. But maybe it changes because since Vince ain't in charge. But Triple H brought Charlotte in, right? Like she started in NXT. So Charlotte's a Triple H girl. So I feel like she's going to be prominently featured on TV. So yeah, I'd send all 5 of them without hesitation.
Speaking of the Royal Rumble, who do you think's winning this year's Royal Rumbles, male and female?
Cody and Becky. Like it feels very like
The Cody feels very predictable.
Yeah, so does Becky because she's out, and but like Becky and Bianca's the match. I bring up this question to RSH all the time. It's like if it's going to be Rock and Roman, we all know the reports that they're trying to get a belt off of him, right? Like they're trying to figure out how to do that. If Roman's the champion, he's fighting The Rock. Doesn't The Rock have to win the Rumble?
That is a very good point.
Like
How is he going to get integrated into
let's say Cody wins the Rumble. Doesn't the Rumble winner for all of history get a title shot at WrestleMania, right?
Yes, sir.
So how's that happen if Roman's got the belts and he's fighting The Rock? Nobody gives a fuck. I was not a Cody Rhodes. I'm not what you call a Cody Rhodes fan, but like I love what he did since he came back to WWE. It was amazing. And Seth Rollins, who to me is the best professional wrestler in the world right now, and he has been for a while now, what they did was great. And what he did at Hell in a Cell was insane, wrestling with that. But nobody wants to watch Rhodes, Rock, Roman. Like they don't. It just doesn't. It doesn't fit. Like they've been building this bloodline storyline for how many years now? For this match. This is what it's all been leading to, right? So how do you do that? So like I think Cody and Becky will win, but if they don't take the belt off Roman, The Rock and Becky are going to win. Because how else do you do Rock and Roman? Oh my God, The Rock surprise entry. It'd pop. ESPN would cover it, right? Bleacher Report would get it. WrestleBuddy would have stuff about it. Like all the big websites would have stuff about The Rock. Oh my God, he's back. He's in the Rumble. It'd be big news. But like storyline wise, like for us that watch wrestling religiously, The Rock winning the Rumble would kind of be disappointing, right? It's like Brock winning it last year. We went to the Royal Rumble. Me, Ben, and Yvonne went to the Royal Rumble last year in St. Louis, and it was fucking terrible.
Me, Devin, and Brandon were out there as well, and
it was horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. Seeing Brock win sucked.
Yeah, like after the Seth Rollins Shield entrance, I hated the rest of the show.
Did you not like the ending of Roman versus Seth either?
No, it's stupid. They should have been fighting in the first place. It's like when The Fiend debuted, and they're like, the dirt sheet said they're going to slowly build him. What was he doing a month later? Fighting for the fucking world title. Fighting for the title. Like, no, you don't need to do that. The story's already there with Seth and Roman. So I didn't like it. And Seth was on a losing streak. And I didn't like that he lost like 10 fucking matches in a row. And he's probably going to lose the fight pit, but he needs to because he went over Riddle the last time. But like, no, it was horrible. It was St. Louis is an amazing. We met Baron Corbin there. We were at this bar by our hotel. Cool. Yeah, we have a picture on our Twitter somewhere. It's somewhere. Yvonne does a lot of our retweeting and sharing and stuff. She's very good at social media. Me and Chuck are old, and we don't really mess with it as much. I just talk shit to people, then I log off. And like, I don't care what they say. I say my shit, then I go. But Corbin's a good guy. He's like best friends with MJF. Like, he was literally at a table by him, like with his girlfriend and his like buddy, just hanging out. Nobody was around him. Like he just blended in. My buddy's like, "That's Happy Corbin." I was like, "Oh shit!" And like we talked to him. He took a picture with us. He promised to come on the show. Never did. But anyway, he was a cool dude. I took a shot. I can say me, Ben, and him took a shot of Jack together. So I took a shot with Baron Corbin. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty fucking cool.
And he bought it, so I'll take it. Dude, he got his bar tab. It was like $587.
Woo.
He don't fuck around, dude. He had
they were drinking.
Dude, he had like a tray of drinks. There was like 3 or 4 people. I was like, man, Corbin don't fuck around. Because I asked him, I was like, who you gonna fuck up at Mania? He was like, Drew. I'm gonna kick his ass. And he fought Drew. He didn't kick his ass, but like Corbin's one of the more underappreciated wrestlers, I think. And I'm excited to see I guess he's coming back with JBL.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
That has a lot of potential. I think Baron Corbin winning the world title is something that has to fucking happen before that dude's done with wrestling.
Especially after he got screwed over with the Money in the Bank.
Oh, dude, we went to a live event here. There's a live event in October we're going to go to. There's a Saturday super show, like 15 minutes from where we live. And we went and saw the dog food match and it was fucking brutal. So Baron Corbin survived all that shit. He deserves a fucking title. Mm-hmm. Whether it's one night or 1 month, that guy deserves a title run. He's the most underappreciated guy in professional wrestling. You give him – look at all his gimmicks. He's made all of them work.
I was about to say King Corbin was great. I think
Yeah.
he's got a phenomenal moveset too. One of
Dude,
the best
he does. How cool is End of Days?
The End of Days, the Deep Six is a phenomenal
Dude, the one where
change on the.
Dude, yeah, he jumps out of the ring, slides under, runs around. Like, that's cool. Like, that's different.
I haven't seen that done that well since Big Boss Man.
Oh, dude, Big Boss Man to me was like one of the most underappreciated wrestlers back in those days. But I've thought the same fucking thing about Corbin. That's who he translates to. Like, you know, we're in a world where like this new singer's out, but we automatically compare them to somebody else. A new rapper's out. Oh, that's Eminem. It's like, no, like that's that person. Like, but we live in a world where we always compare. It's always got to be who's better. But like, he's just good. He's very good, and I hope to see him. I'm very excited for what him and JBL, because JBL was very underappreciated, I think, too, as well. Like, he had a very good run for a couple years.
Phenomenal heel run too.
Yeah, dude, he was great.
That hate him.
Yeah, well, you know what that means? He did his fucking job, because you're supposed to hate him. That's what people's like. I fucking hate. Chuck always says that. I fucking hate that. That's their job. They're a heel, Chuck. Like, you're supposed to fucking hate them. Like, what do you want them to do? Like, this week, I was like, Drew versus Karrion Kross. He's like, I'm over it. I'm like, I fucking threw my headset off. I'm like, dude, what the fuck you mean you're over it? Like, it's been going on too long. It's like, it's been 2 fucking months, dude.
It's barely been that.
He's like, I'm over it already. I was like, this is why my drinking's picked up over the last couple of years since RSH started. I'll tell you that. That is a fact. I get to carry this beautiful belt around with me. And yes, I'm the guy at Walmart. They're like, what the fuck is that in his cart? It's like, it's this. I do carry it with me. I wore this to a WWE event. Like, I take this shit out.
Hell yeah.
957 days. Roman, you got to step up, dude. Like, you ain't the longest champion in wrestling right now.
So we were talking about how excited you are for Extreme Rules. What match are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Balor and Edge.
In the I Quit match?
Yeah, it feels like a passing of the torch thing. Does this feel like a Balor win, right?
It has
to be. It has to be. That and the fight pit. Like, those are like anything with Seth in it. Anything. What can Seth not do in wrestling? Like, what can Seth not do?
I compared him to Macho Man Randy Savage, dude, as he's
that's
a 5-tool player.
Dude, that is an amazing. That's an amazing comparison. That's spot on. Seth is the best wrestler, entertainer there is in wrestling, in my opinion. In my opinion, the Shield is the greatest faction ever made. People think that's fucking nuts. But look what it did. Look what it did. Moxley is the guy, right? I can't stand Moxley. I didn't like Dean Ambrose. I think it's a vanilla character. I think it's basic. Like I said about Madcap Moss, he's the created wrestler on WWE 2K that just wears the black trunks. He's default. Nothing he does. And Wild Thing sucks. I hate the fucking song. I didn't like it in Major League. It's a fucking terrible theme song. And his wife isn't that hot. I just don't get the Moxley thing. I just don't. But that faction did create 3 megastars. There's no denying that. So Roman is the guy in WWE, right? Seth is the best wrestler in the fucking world. And Moxley's kind of carrying AEW. I think he's been champion 18 times in September. So, like, what the fuck? Interim, normal. But, like, yeah, those 2 matches for sure. But, dude, Balor, his push, it's so inevitable. Like, it's been coming for so long. We've been waiting for it as wrestling fans, right? Like, he was the first champion ever that won that belt that Roman's got, right? He was the first ever, undisputed Universal Champion. People forget that. But there was a reason. Hell, even Vince pushed him. But then he got hurt, which I get. But now he's healthy, and it's nice to see him doing big things at Judgment Day, which is also a very entertaining faction that I didn't care about until Triple H took over.
Did you get a chance to see the interview that Seth Rollins did with Ariel Helwani? Where he said that he felt like no matter what he did, he felt like he played second fiddle to Roman. How did you feel about that?
He probably does feel that way. And I bet a lot of people in that company feel that way. But it sucks.
And do you see him getting the amount of heat that a lot of people are saying he's probably going to get?
No. He gets cheered everywhere he goes. He said, like, wrestling fans, like, as a community, sometimes some of our takes are like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. But like, as a community, I think we all understand who Seth Rollins is and what he means to wrestling. So, no, he'll never be hated. Not like that kind of hate. Will he get heat? Maybe. But, like, I heard him come out on Raw. He ain't getting booed. And if I'm like, Riddle's the baby face in that feud, if I'm not mistaken, but Seth gets a bigger pop. Like, how I judge, like, a professional wrestler being, like, GOAT status is if you're a heel and you come out and you get cheered, because that just means you're over.
Mm-hmm. That means you're doing your job too damn well.
It's a Stone Cold, a Rock, an Undertaker, a John Cena. Cena, universally hated, right? Fucking every time that you heard fucking the crowd, the roof would blow off the building. And that's how you know you're a star. Yep. And Seth does the same thing.
Now, we are, I believe, 6 months away from WrestleMania. You're doing pretty well with your predictions, as you say. So predict the 2-night WrestleMania that we've got coming up in 6 months.
Oh, God. All right. To what extent? Like the main event?
You can do the main events, and if they decide to split the titles.
All right. So if they do split the titles, I feel like it'll be Cody and Seth and Roman and Rock, Rousey and Charlotte, Bianca and Becky, John Cena and Austin Theory, and Gunther and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, I'm still waiting for that match. I would love to see that.
Me too. And I figure the U.S. title is going to be prominently, and the IC title. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Brock Lesnar versus Gunther is for the Intercontinental title. Because if Brock gives a fuck about the IC title, the internet's going to fucking explode. Because Brock doesn't even, like, when Brock and R-Truth did that segment, I don't think he knows what half the titles are. He's probably like, what the fuck is that little green thing on the ground? Oh, that's a title. No, I don't want that shit. And grabs, like, the regular belt. But, yeah, I think with Triple H in charge, dude, there's so many possibilities now. Like, you think of all the wrestlers.
People would look at Triple H like a god if he was able to get Brock Lesnar in the IC title match.
Dude, yeah. You get Brock Lesnar in the IC title, then you got John Cena fighting Theory for the U.S. title. Like, it'd be nuts, right? Like,
that'd be crazy.
Mid-card titles mean something. That's insane. Oh, Sami Zayn and KO versus Usos. Got to leave that there. That's inevitable, I think. I think KO and Sammy are obviously the ones going to take the belts off the Usos. The Jay thing is sitting there. Watching that play out over Mania is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be the biggest storyline. You know what's WWE going to do when Sami Zayn is more over than The Rock? Because that storyline is going to be more over than Rock and Roman. And Sami Zayn has to have some kind of interaction with The Rock as well. Like, he has to. He has to, leading up to that match, before he gets thrown out, which we all know that's going to happen eventually, right? He has to interact with The Rock. That'd be gold to me. The Rock, like, who the hell are you? I'm the honor of you. So it's like, you ain't in my family, dude. Like, that'd just be amazing.
Now, we were talking about it earlier with John Cena and how much you appreciate his in-ring work. What would you say is his best in-ring rivalry? A lot of people say Orton. A lot of people say Edge.
It's Orton. Those are the two that come to mind. It'd be Orton. I think they fought in like fucking 11 straight pay-per-views or something like that. Like, but like it never got like it got old, but like it was good most of the time. And back then, Vince was inconsistent. He's a very inconsistent booker, right? Like he gets a hair up his ass, so he does something, and then next week you never know it existed. So that's kind of when Vince was good. Like he was doing very well, like smart. But it's Orton. Edge is 2, Punk would be 3.
And if you had to build a promotion around, let's say, 10 wrestlers, who would you have to build around?
Roman. Roman would be the number 1 draft pick. And MJF. That'd be 1 and 2. That's 1A, 1B. You got a fucking global superstar. And you got a dude that's like the best heel in wrestling. And he's young, and he's not even touched his potential yet.
So there's 2.
Theory, Madcap Moss,
talent.
Madcap Moss, both Creed brothers. So there's 6. You need a veteran. So you bring in Brock Lesnar. There's 7 because you need a attraction. No, whatever Brock does matters, right?
The track size.
And then you need some women, so Bianca and Becky. You got to have the female aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And Orange Cassidy. I love Orange Cassidy. I'm a huge fan of Orange Cassidy. Don't know why. Probably because I wear shirts with my picture on it as well, just like him. So, but I did it before AEW was a thing, so I didn't even know. People now are like, man, you knocking off Orange Cassidy. It's like, no, this shirt's like 5 years old. I was skinny in this shirt. So, yeah, those would be my 10. You have to have a comedy guy. You know, you have to have, that entertainment segment. Like, that's what Cassidy and Truth are there for. So and Cassidy can wrestle them. Cassidy can wrestle.
Yes, he can. He's actually really damn good in the ring.
And he can wrestle with his fucking hands in his pockets, which is insane.
Tell me another wrestler that can do that with their hands, even restrained or anything like that.
He just jumps on the apron, like up on the top turnbuckle like it's nothing. It's like, dude, it's amazing.
Other than MJF and Theory, who is the most uprising superstar that you can think of today?
It's got to be Breaker down in NXT. Like, you see it, right? Like, the Steiner bloodline, like, he's going to be a fucking world champion.
The biological son of Scott Steiner, as I said.
Yeah, like, it's inevitable. But if I'm going off to just a generic answer, I think Grayson Waller.
Okay.
He's money. AJ Styles pitched to Vince McMahon to go work with him. He said he really wanted to. When somebody, the status of an AJ Styles, WWE's got a pretty hectic schedule, as we all know as wrestling fans, right? Like, he pitches to take another night out of his life where he has kids and a wife to go work with a guy. I think that says a lot about that guy. Grayson Waller, he can talk, he can wrestle, he gets some heat, bro. And his Twitter game is really, really good. And that matters today. It sounds stupid, but that matters. Getting heat online and people knowing who you are. If people online want to see you, you're going to get on TV. I think Grayson Waller,
for MJF.
dude, he's going to be a superstar. Watch, Grayson Waller is going to be a star.
And he's hyper athletic.
Dude, him and Tony D'Angelo down there are going to be fucking superstars. And watch out for Santos Escobar. I don't know when he's going to show up, but I think we know he's coming.
I think Rumble. We got about 2 months.
So, see, that's rough. That means he leaves NXT and he's off TV for 4 months. That's just a big gap.
Yeah.
But where do you integrate? That's true. And where do you integrate them right now? Like, there's really no storyline for them just to jump into. Everybody's pretty occupied.
Bloodline. You could throw them at the bloodline.
Oh man, do you want to fucking just get them squashed right off the bat? Because they're not going to beat the bloodline.
No.
Like, they're talking about Imperium versus the bloodline versus a brawling Bruce. Like, I don't want Imperium near the bloodline because the bloodline's not going to lose.
That's why the Brawling Brutes are there to take the pin, though.
Yeah. So that's fucking Rich Holland's job, right?
Yep. And for the women, Courtney says Roxanne.
Yeah, she's good. Oh, for the women rising, I think Indy Hartwell.
Okay, good shout out.
I think she's got star potential, and the way has to unite on the main roster, right? Like, Candice is there now. Hey, and I think she's going to be one to watch, too. Candice LeRae looked amazing Monday.
Oh, she was phenomenal.
She never got a really big push in NXT, though. Like, she never won the title. Like, she had good matches.
A lot.
Yeah, so it's kind of like main roster, fix it, and I think they will. And she's going to be a fucking star. So, yeah.
She started to beat Nikki Ash, who's looking like she's going to revert back to Nikki Cross. Yeah.
It's the little things, right? Like, with WWE right now, like,
Triple H is doing a really good story.
He's doing little things, like giving their names back. LA Knight left Maximum Male Models, like, good. He put Imperium. He put Da Vinci back in Imperium. One little thing like that. Dude, perfect. Like, he's doing all the small things, and that's what matters. And they're paying off big time. Him bringing The Fiend in would just be the exclamation mark.
We got someone saying, do you see
on
the main roster?
Yep, she's dating Braun Breaker, so that'll help her. It just will. That's how wrestling works. Ask the Bellas how that works.
And another member of the way that they brought back was Dexter Loomis. I'm so happy to see him back. And he's been phenomenal since he's been back.
He's been amazing, but I need some kind of understanding why he's doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he attacks the Miz and like passionately pets his head. I want to know why he's stalking the Miz for. I'm cool with it. I love Dexter Loomis in NXT, but this is where the storytelling is like, all right, dude, like I get what you're doing, but why? You have to explain why. But he doesn't talk, so how's that going to work? So that'll be interesting to find out too. For me though, I need to know why.
And
But the
they've
way
got Gargano teaming with Kevin Owens right now, so it's not looking like they're going to pair up right now.
no, and the way probably won't be a thing for a while because Theory's doing his thing. And I think Gargano versus Theory's inevitable at this point, right? So
Isn't that going to happen at Extreme Rules or no?
they haven't announced it. They announced Imperium versus the Brawling Brutes and a Dolly match.
The Donnybrook match.
Yeah, which will be badass. I just don't know how to pronounce the fucking title of the match.
They're going to beat the damn.
Oh, dude.
They're going to beat 10 shades of shit out of each other.
And that's the night after Gunther and Sheamus on SmackDown. It's the little things because those matches are going to be bangers, as Sheamus would say.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? Sheamus is resurrected now. When did that happen?
Him just putting on,
Was it Tariff?
I know the Cardiff
Or
show.
sorry, Cardiff. I don't know why the fuck I call it Tariff.
But
Cardiff.
The Cardiff show I know definitely helped. But I want to say this goes back to his matches with Drew McIntyre in the empty arena. Because those were some insane hard-hitting matches.
He's very underappreciated, and it's nice to see him resurrected, and I like his group too. Pete Dunne, fucking one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. Rich Holland, he's got potential.
And it really wasn't his fault that Big E got hurt either.
No, I don't blame him. Big E doesn't blame him. Oh, and how much of a pop is Big E going to get when he returns?
Oh, you see him just fucking with that neck?
Yeah, like there's so much shit to look forward to. That's what's exciting. Like I'm excited for Raw Monday and SmackDown and NXT and Extreme Rules Saturday night. Get my friends together, hang out. Like it's fucking great. It's like it used to be. It's how wrestling's supposed to be.
It's starting to get back up there, I think.
It's starting to get to where people like I go out and they're like, hey. People that know me know, like, I fucking love wrestling. And normally when I'm out, I'm wearing like a fucking wrestling t-shirt or I'm carrying this damn gold belt with me because I will. And they're like, hey, I heard Edge is back. I'm like, yeah. They're like, I'm going to tune in. Hey, Vince is gone. Triple H is in charge. I'm going to tune in. It's like, yeah, wrestling's getting back. Yes. And it's going to be Bray. And I think he attacks Riddle. That's my prediction. Now, I pointed this out on RSH this week. If you look at the graphics, which WrestleBuddy pointed out to me first, so I can't take credit because I didn't notice it. But the Lantern and the Fireflies is in 2 matches. Carlson, Drew, and Riddle and Seth.
I also saw it in Balor and Edge.
Okay, so what if he comes after Balor? But I don't think that happens because Judgment Day's hot. If you bring in Bray, Bray's got to fucking destroy everything. So you probably don't want to bring him in there. I think, logically, Drew would be the first person he should go after. Because Drew's already like, I want to go heel, blah, blah, blah. What's the Fiend do? Or I don't think he's going to be the Fiend. I think he's going to be whatever this fucking rabbit thing is. He's going to look like some serial killer rabbit costume on or some shit, but it's going to be badass. But I think he goes after Drew, takes Drew out. Drew disappears for a little bit. And then he kind of does his thing. So I think Cross will Drew will be going for the Claymore or something. The lights will go out. Cross wins. Then he attacks Drew. But I would prefer he attacks Riddle. Because if he attacks Riddle and he changes him, Riddle with an edge, that's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
He needs that, like, fuck you thing that he's got going on right now with Seth. He needs that
killer instinct.
Yeah, right now. And he's Rob Van Dam, right? He's the stoner, bro. Like, he's that guy. But him with an edge, then when Orton comes back, Randy Orton's going to come back. Think of the people we're missing in wrestling right now. And we're still having great wrestling. Like, Randy Orton's not around right now. Becky Lynch, the biggest female wrestler in the world, is not around right now. Cody Rhodes, probably the most over wrestler when he was going, right? Because everybody's all for
the Rumble.
Yeah, so look at all these people you're missing. Big E, and they'll all be back in a few months, and it's going to be amazing. The road to Mania this year, I hope my high expectations get met because they're very fucking high. But so far, it's been good.
All right, my friend. Hey, Russ, how you doing? So, before we go off air, we're going to ask the question I end off every show with. Josh, why do you love pro wrestling?
It's the storytelling, dude. It's a TV show. You tune in, it's like anything you watch. The Office, like The Office is my favorite TV show of all time. It's a TV show. The storylines, the in-ring action, the selling, all of it. Everything about professional wrestling. I hate. It's a story that never ends either. Wrestling don't get time off. That's another thing I like. It's always there. It's like you have a shitty Monday. Mondays suck, right? Like everybody hates Mondays.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you know what happens at 8:00 on Mondays? Raw comes on.
And it's on for 3 hours.
Hey, the week's over. I'm gonna sit at home. What's on TV? SmackDown. Friday night. People off weekend. Like it's there. That's the thing. It's always there. It's not always great, but it's always there.
It's always there to take your mind off things.
Yep, always. It's a nice escape. It's like when COVID was going on, and everybody's getting on Vince like, this motherfucker don't care about their health. It's like, no, dude. Like he wanted us as wrestling fans to have something to focus on when this terrible thing's going on in our world. And that's what wrestling is. It's an escape that never goes away.
All right, Josh, as we are going out, before we do our goodbyes, I'm going to give you this time to plug and promote whatever you would like.
All right, so RSH, my podcast, we go live every Wednesday about 6:30 Eastern time. This week, 150th episode, Jimmy Bebe from Wrestlebuddy will be there. I'm going to scream at him and tell him why John Moxley's the most overrated wrestler in professional wrestling. I'm going to tell him why CM Punk is the biggest jerk-off in professional wrestling, and him and Chuck are going to argue about Michael Myers. But it is our 150th episode. We're doing Extreme Rules predictions. Bebe will be participating in that as well. We'll predict the whole card, break down every single match. You can follow us on Twitter at RSH Wrestling. We're on Facebook at RSH Wrestling. We made it simple because our fans are, our fans are kind of stupid sometimes. I talk shit to our fans. I'm the heel on the podcast, so I call them idiots and shit. So at RSH Wrestling on Twitter. You can follow me at JadaBoard12 on Twitter. But just follow at RSH. That's where when I'm on Twitter, I'm never on my own account unless I'm responding to messages or something. I'm always on the RSH account. But yeah, Wednesdays, 6:30. And you can find my stuff on WrestleBuddy.com or GeekBuddy.com. I think I have some stuff spread over both now.
Oh, yeah. All right. And you can catch more of this as it is the season finale of Meet the Wrestlebuddies tomorrow with Alex and Cammy.
Nice.
Other than that, we got Buddy Wars on Monday, the podcast on Sunday, and a whole plethora of other content coming this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Josh, for sitting down and getting to introduce you to the crew, to the audience.
I appreciate you having me on.
No worries. Thank you. Fans, thank you so much for tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is where I tell you guys to stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated. This is where we wave. Bye.